Hey guys, it's Huntin, and welcome back for the 5K Q&A review. The question and answer portion, I guess. The second half of the Q&A delivery. I promised myself I wouldn't delete this and start over again, so I'm gonna keep trucking on. Guys, thank you so much again for your continued amazing support with Huntin. I cannot believe we're at 5,000 subscribers. We're actually at like 530 something. We are flying through 5,000. Seriously though, you guys have been amazing supporting me through all the good, bad, terrible, great videos, helping me realize how many other people share in the amazing passion for FFXI that I have. So thank you so much. Quick thank you, special thank you. I'm doing this all in different formats, so I got my phone down here with like all the notes, because the music, I'm doing that sound in Sanctuary of Zi'Tah because I love this music. I just thought it was some great background music for this whole situation we got going on right now. But I can't cut out to look at the questions because it'll cut the music, and that's just a travesty. So I've got it on my phone. First off, special thanks to Aaron B, Diku Man, Barbe00 Brune, Aaron Hansen, Gene Sebastian, Matthew Tremonti, K11 Keeper, and Jam, who didn't leave a question on the question and answer, but all commented saying like, General, thank you for the updates. Thank you for all the videos. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for supporting me. I didn't want to leave you guys out, but even though you didn't have questions, you guys are the best. Seriously, let's get right into this. We got so many. We still have a crap load of questions somehow. I don't know how we keep getting so many questions. Because this is the 5th time we've done this. 5K Q&A. Oh, the music's starting over. Here we go. I'm also doing it with a beer this time. I figured we should enjoy this. We should have a good time with it, but we'll see how that goes. I could get super tired by the end of it. I'm already super tired. First question, Brian Barnhart. I love Final Fantasy XI, and it was a major part of my life, and videos really bring me back. But the game seems to have changed a lot since the 75 cap. Is it worth coming back now, or is 11 a totally different experience? Honestly, the answer is going to be different for everybody. I think there's totally still a ton to experience. I've got my notes of my answers, because the one time I tried to do this without notes, it was like 3 hours, and I couldn't focus. So forgive me if I kind of read down my notes. But seriously, there's still a ton to experience. Story-wise, through all the missions, the Rhapsodies of Vana'diel, Adeline, it's a chance to finally experience all those little bits of the game that you never really got to experience during 75. 75 was great, but there was a ton that was tough to get to, whether it was just through time constraints, job requirements, gear requirements, people requirements, and you can kind of do all that stuff now. So for better or worse, it's great to finally experience some of that. With the trust system, with friends just being over the level cap now. Sorry, that the music caught me. Ultimately, it's not going to be as social as it once was, because it doesn't force you to group up with people for as much content. So by necessity, it's not as social, but you can still find social experiences if you look for them. We got a cool little link shell node that we have a ton of fun with. So it's just hard to justify depending on what you're looking for, but I totally think it's worth coming back, at least checking it out. Revisit some stuff for a month at the very least, enjoy some of the zones, the beautiful music, and decide whether or not you feel like sticking around for longer than that. But yeah, totally. Jake5773. As always, Jim Carrey, you ever been called Jim Carrey? I'm going to answer like I always do. Never. It's never happened. I don't know what you're talking about. Thanks for all the support, Jake. Gamera, Grass man, so happy for you, and you're right, you hit 10K before you know it. Damn right, we're going right straight to the top. Seriously though. Question is 2 parts like I always do. Which story is your favorite, like Winders versus Bastok or COP or Rise of Zi'Tah, etc.? Personally, I think Bastok has the best story. It's better to me than the expansion stories. Who's your favorite NPC from the stories? For me, it's either Zide or Sid. Favorite storyline, I think I've said this before, and I always debate whether or not I'm being honest with myself. COP, Chains of Promethea was by far one of the coolest experiences in games I've ever experienced. But partially that was due to the zones, the music, the characters, but all of it tied together I just thought was amazing. Out of the main city quest, I think Windurst, but maybe that's cheating because I only did Windurst. I didn't do Bastok or Zandoria. But I love the Windurst storyline. I thought it was really cool how they tied in the summoning back lore and Fenrir as a main driving force in the story. Just so cool. For the second part, the favorite NPC, it used to be Prish, but now I'm kind of thinking Tenzin. Tenzin was super cool during the Rhapsodies of Vana'diel missions. I thought he really came back in a big way, and he was always kind of cool in Promethea. He was a little weird, Like, he kind of just fights you at one point. I didn't really get why. But super badass. Glad to see him come back. Icy Guy. Question is, can you farm for my currency for the apocalypse? No, not a chance, dude. Good luck. But for reals, though, is there any endgame content you regret not doing, want to do more for some shits and giggles? Yeah, seriously, dude, I'm not doing that. I'm not farming that apocalypse currency. Endgame stuff, I loved Limbus and Dynamis back in the day was sweet, but honestly, my biggest miss was Sky. I've talked about like the few times that I like fought Kieran or Genbu, but realistically, I only did that like 4 or 5 times. Like, I wasn't really heavily involved in a Skylink shell for a long time, and I always kind of missed out. I feel like I missed a lot of that the build up for farming for weeks to like fight some of those guys. I don't know, I always kind of regretted. It's such a cool endgame zone. It was such a big moment for me getting to Sky. I was like, holy shit, I'm like reaching the end game of an MMO. I'm like a big deal in this game. I wasn't. I was a turd nugget, but like I thought it was really cool, and the area is beautiful, so I'd love to have spent more time out there. But yeah, I definitely want to go back and do some of those god streams. We have to fight them all at least once on a stream or something for sure. Baka Neruthun. In Final Fantasy 11 back in the day, pre-Abyssia era, what was your favorite content? If you can, top 3 if you can't decide. Dude, totally easy for me. Pre-Abyssia, my favorite difficult content was Limbus. It was shorter, unlike Dynamis, which was a ton of fun, but could be like 3 hours. So I was always kind of stressed out that like real life would get in the way of this like event that I couldn't leave or stop. Like a party, you could always leave. But Dynamis, you can't like go. Like you're gonna lose, I don't know, clout in the link shell. But it's simple like objectives. You gained progress each time through like the currency, and it was cool that the currency was actually like an item in your inventory. It wasn't like a key item that you could see building up but you couldn't like touch. Like I kind of hate how a lot of MMOs these days, they build up a concept of currency so that you're always making subtle, slow progress, regardless of whether or not you get drops. But like it's an invisible currency. It's just like points behind the scenes that you have to like look at a counter somewhere. Like this was a currency that I could sell, I could trade, I could buy more if I was like just like 2 away, so I didn't have to like do another run. It was just like a cool system. But there was also like key like item drops from Omega and Ultima, like some really amazing gear drop from Ultima and Omega. And you get to some of the fights were amazing. Like I got to fight Behemoth, King Behemoth, and Fafnir, and all sorts of crazy people that I would never have encountered in game because I like wasn't in those kind of link shells. I would fight them on a regular basis, and I certainly couldn't commit myself to a lot of their camp like windows. So like I thought it was awesome. I got to do some amazing fights. I was building up points. All the promy areas that like Limbus took place in were super cool too. So it was just a cool mode. The Snoopy. You've talked about most jobs and best, worst, and most changed Final Fantasy 11. Alright guys, we made it through 5 people before I had a super tongue breakdown. Except Corsair. What exactly are your opinions oh my god. Let's get it together. What exactly are your opinions of the job, both in the 75 era and current era? Dude, Corsair was awesome. I'm gonna be totally real right now. It's a possibility that one of the reasons I rarely bring up Corsair in any of my videos is because I'm the least informed about Corsair out of all the jobs in Final Fantasy 11. For the longest time, until a stream like 2 months ago, Corsair was my lowest job in Final Fantasy 11, bar none. It was level 15 and has been 15 for like 10 years. I never leveled it. And because it was an expensive job and it was kind of difficult to be good at back at 75 in terms of gear, and just like, you had to buy ammo all the time, and people weren't always sure how to work it into the rotations, unlike Bard, which is super easy to just like slap in there and always be effective. I didn't encounter that many Corsairs. Like I partied with a few and I've like seen them, but I didn't know any Corsairs personally that I could like ask questions about. I just didn't know that much about the job. But it's super cool. I've heard it's amazing now. It can throw out like 30,000 Savage Blades. I'm not really sure how that compares to like the weapon skills it can do with its gun. I feel like they should be important too. But 30,000 damage with a Savage Blade sounds pretty nuts. It's awesome. The concept is awesome that you like have, the randomization of the cards that you can kind of control with double up and add 1 or whatever the abilities are. But to kind of get the numbers you want to maximize your buffs. Personally, it always drives me a little nuts that like I feel like it would drive me crazy if my buffs weren't always pretty close to like the same amount. Like a bard, if you do minuet, you're gonna get the same attack each time. So that would kind of drive me nuts. But it's a super cool job. I've actually thought about leveling it a bunch of times because like ranged guns and buffs in general are kind of like outside my comfort zone. So I thought it'd be fun. I might try it out soon. Yeah, we'll see. Were you a Corsair? That'd be cool to know. Sage Protest. You should make a video how to start up. Oh, and raffle off 3 1x-month Final Fantasy 11 passes. If I recall, someone did it for you. I've been hearing that a lot lately. A lot of people bring up like the how to start Final Fantasy 11 video, like where is that? And you're right, I don't have one. I really should do it. I think somebody else brings it up later too. So look, keep on the lookout for that one. That one might be coming out soon. I've definitely been lazy about that one because I really want to take it seriously. Like how to start my favorite game of all time. I can't just like half-ass that one. Not that I half-ass any of my videos. They're all 100% effort, 110% every time. Every time. Best video I've ever put out. Most of the time. Anyways, the raffle. I'm not sure I ever won a Final Fantasy 11 raffle. I didn't even know you could do 1x monthly fees. That's a great idea. I want to do more raffles. We did the one raffle that one time for I think it might have been 100 subs, and we did it again for 1,000 subs for just like a raffle for various stuff. For I forget, we had a couple things you could like pick and choose, which is a lot of fun. I want to do more stuff like that. I kind of got away from it for a while because I've been so focused on the Twitch and everything else. But let me know if there's 1 month Final Fantasy 11 passes. That's a pretty cool little raffle thing. So I would totally do something like that. Question: Will you show off other MMO type games or cool Scholar and Final Fantasy 11 action? Dude, definitely. I usually can't help from hopping to MMO. The only reason you haven't seen it a lot lately is because there really haven't been a ton of releases lately in terms of the MMO space. But I usually hop and start like every new MMO that comes out. So definitely some footage in 2018. There's a lot of cool games I'm looking forward to that are coming out this month. Or this month, I wish. This year. Everything from Bless, which I'm actually losing a lot of hope in. Crowfall, Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen. Even some stranger ones like Legends of Aria that has me kind of questioning. There's a couple that I'm not sure when they come out that I've been keeping my eye on. But yeah, tons of stuff. I'll definitely show more of that stuff. Obviously, some more Final Fantasy 11 Scholar. I think I'm getting a little bit better at that job, but I'm still pretty terrible. Even WoW, Battle for Azeroth is coming out this year, and I've been checking out the free trial a couple times on some streams, and I really think I might pick a job and try to play through it. There's a ton of cool story and lore in World of Warcraft, and I'd love to experience it from like a fan of Final Fantasy XI's perspective, like going into it now, just trying to enjoy it the way I would enjoy Final Fantasy XI. So we'll see. But yeah, definitely lots of MMOs. Keep on the lookout for that. Thanks for the question, dude. Axel Lowe, what do you eat for breakfast each morning? I wish I had like a funny answer to that, like the blood of my enemies. No, we've got like a cafeteria at work, and depending on how work's going and who's working at the cafe, I'll get like a sausage, mushroom, tomato and cheese omelet with some onion, or love sausage, egg and cheese breakfast sandwiches on bagel. It's delicious. At home, I usually make breakfast sandwiches on like English muffin. Sometimes I'll make omelets, but I'm not very good at the flip. The omelets aren't very good unless you can master that flip. I gotta work on the flip. Great question. I eat the breakfast of champions every day. Bob, what was your worst noobish mistake you ever made in public on Final Fantasy XI? Tell the story and don't forget to be ashamed. See, this is tough because I swear I blocked this stuff out. Because I think back, I'm like, I never did anything dumb. But like, I know I did. So I was thinking about this for like hours. Recently, like 2 months ago, I D2'd someone who was waiting for a drop from one of the Abyssia bosses. A lot of you might have seen it. I felt terrible. I still feel terrible. If you're watching, I'm so sorry. The earring wasn't that great, but I could not feel worse. Or was it a ring? Ring or earring? I still feel terrible that I D2'd the guy. All time, I remember being super embarrassed sitting too close to King Behemoth. When he popped one time, I was just like watching the fight. I didn't realize that like some of his AoEs could like hurt people outside of the party. Or maybe he attacked somebody outside of the party. I really don't know. Regardless, I went down as like a level 35 black mage. I felt like an idiot because I was like, oh, I thought I was safe out here. I wasn't even that close. I was like pretty far away. He wrecked me. Yeah, some 70 white mage raised me, and I felt so stupid. I didn't know you could get hit. I didn't know you could hit outside of the party. Alexis Ayala. You're the only YouTuber I know that puts out 11 content. However, I would love to hear your opinion on what you think of Eureka on 14. I'm enjoying the hell of it. For any of you that don't know, Eureka is new content that was released this like latest patch in Final Fantasy 14. It is supposed to harken back to some of the favorite things about Final Fantasy 11. It's got very difficult zones with mobs that take groups to kill. Elemental weaknesses are in play in some way. It's very slow. You've got to kind of grind for points or however, and XP. It just like takes a while. You're in the same kind of area fighting these monsters over and over again. So they even like officially stated, they're like, it's supposed to kind of get back to some things that people loved about Final Fantasy 11. I have not tried it. So Exia Edges asked the same question. So Exia Edges, thank you so much for the question as well. I guess I should be getting into some Eureka, because that's two people now that brought it up. But the only reason I haven't tried it yet is because I'm not at level cap in Final Fantasy 14 right now. I'm like 67 with my ninja. I'm super close, but I haven't quite gotten there. I've heard mixed reviews, but I only know a little bit about it in passing, so take my opinion with like a grain of salt. Some of what I'm basing this off of might not be totally accurate. I've only looked into it to like a certain extent. I love that they're making the areas more difficult to like navigate by yourself. I think that's really cool. They're bringing back like, you know, the risk. Although in Final Fantasy 11 you had ways to like sneak through areas. I don't know if there was a way to do that in Final Fantasy 14 because it just wasn't as big of a deal. I think in general, different ways to gear up is crucial. I love they're adding different kind of content that can, you know, expand beyond the dungeon roulettes and trials and that kind of stuff, the raids. A slower grind to earn some gear that isn't constantly queuing up for dungeons that you're trying to race through. I think that's cool because I like that you're trying to slow down the movement. Like, the combat, yes, is still going to be faster than Final Fantasy 11 was, but even if I'm not just like racing from one spot to the next, like physically in a dungeon, I heard you have to like kind of roam around in the zone, but that's different. You're not like changing up. I think it's like you kill a bunch of normal enemies and there's like a boss and you fight the boss. I think it's like a really cool concept. I think it's cool that they're bringing that back, trying to like slow things down a little bit. Part of my struggle with 14 though is that I get really burnt out so fast sometimes. I'm always like so focused. You're so intensely focused on the perfect rotation that I get burnt out playing it. And Final Fantasy 11 was so slow. I never really felt that way. I could play Final Fantasy 11 for hours at a time, hitting my 3 macro buttons a fight. You know, be effective, time things well, and not be like exhausted. So I like that they're trying to slow things down. I think that's a cool approach to it. But like, I like the idea of the elemental weaknesses. I think it's really cool that they're bringing that back. It was one of my biggest letdowns in Final Fantasy 14 that elemental weaknesses weren't a thing. It's one of my favorite things about 11 was to like, you could learn more about the world, about the enemies, and just be better at fighting them than you were without that knowledge. Knowing that poison nails is like light based and would do more against ghosts than it would against, what's a light based enemy? Light spirits. Anyways, look, I think it's really cool. I don't know, I still haven't quite figured out how they're implementing that elemental weaknesses though. It seems like you can sort of focus and gear up or level up certain elemental strengths to match your current goals, which is cool, but it doesn't quite, it's not quite the same, because I love that in 11, you could on the fly be like, I know that it's weak to ice, so it's probably going to get immediately destroyed by paralyze if I cast it, or it's really strong against earth, so slow is probably not going to land, and you can adapt on the fly. This is like, I'm preparing myself with a certain approach to beat this for the next 4 hours because I have that elemental strength. It's like I'm in the right direction, but it's not quite the same. I think it's cool that they're trying something different. But yeah, I'm not sure if it quite captures what I loved about elemental weaknesses. I feel like it sort of just will be forgotten after you choose your element. It's cool. I like to see them keep it relevant somehow and like continue to improve it. I feel like a lot of the times they sort of let this content die after like one patch, and they don't really try to work on it, make it better, expand upon it. They're just like, it's gone, it's over. Like, come on. I want to see some of this stuff last for a while. Like, keep it updated, keep it relevant. Zarnik, how long did it take you to gear Summoner? I'm a Summoner main, and I'm grinding Black Mage to 99 so I can blow up the NM I need to kill for my Caller Seal's body. Damn Amnesia. Dude, that sucks. Hate Amnesia. Dude, at 99, not that long to get where I am now, but I'm not that like amazing. I'm just kind of like an averagely geared summoner. Some ambuscade stuff, some relic plus 119 stuff. I got the wood staff. Man, I'm on summoner right now. The Greedorvor, which is the Obro weapon. I mean, some decent stuff. Like, I still have my Evoker's ring from back in the day, the Varro ring, but I don't have any good earrings yet that I never did figure that out. The 119 thing I spent days on, trying to kill that asshole that drops him. I'm proud of the gear. I spent a lot of time working towards it, but it's nothing like, you know, insane. I guess I don't have any ambuscade stuff on this guy. Huh. It's interesting. Anyways. Point being, it didn't take me that long because I already had a 119 that I could use to get a lot of this stuff. It was just sort of like continuing to build up towards it. But first 119 took me like, I'd say like a month, a few weeks as I was figuring out the systems. I didn't even know about ambuscade back then, so that might have changed things. This one, I don't know, like a week, something like that. But I had a lot of help from previous effort. And again, my summoner's nothing like crazy, or even really that good. But if you're going for the Call of Seals body, I have heard that the Abyssius stuff is like the hardest to get, so that could be tougher. I've got the easy stuff. Saysil. Dude, that's 5,000 subs, highly deserved. Congratulations. Dude, really appreciate it, man. I was wondering if you could tell us one story about your very first steps at 5x11. Discovering the city, trying to understand how the game worked, your first battles, death, first friend you made. Was it hard choosing the right character for you? That sort of thing. Also, thank you for your videos. Your lighthearted, bubbly personality never fails to put me in a good mood for the day. The way you always sound so interested in new things and welcome any improvement is nice to see. Keep up the good work. Really appreciate it, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, I try to get excited. A lot of my friends get so bummed about the updates and patches coming out and new games and stuff. I try to always stay optimistic. So I hope that stays the case. And you don't see me one day just like totally destroyed. Anyways, so happy to, yeah, my favorite first moments story ever was being given a level 7 cape as soon as I stepped into the game by a buddy that I knew. And at the time, I had no idea what a cape was. It had like 2 defense. It's like the name of the item is cape. I thought, or maybe cotton cape. I thought it was like the most glorious gift I'd ever been given. I was like, thank you so much for going out of your way. It cost like 300 gil from a vendor. He was like, almost being sassy about it, but I thought it was, I thought I owed him like a life debt. It was such a nice gesture. But one of my first like holy crap moments in the game and like, wow, this game is tough, I'm gonna actually have to really think about this and like focus, and it's hard, was the first time I fought a Yagudo out in like eastern Surturbrutta. You're fighting like a couple, you know, rabbits and some bumblebees, and they're easy, even for a level 1, they're easy. 2 feet away, if you go to the left, to the north, you immediately encounter a couple birds, still not that bad, and then like your first Yagudo. And I remember not even really thinking, I think I checked it and it said it was like tough, and I was like, alright, tough. And I attacked it and it destroyed me as my little black mage. I was like, what the? This game sucks. And I like popped back into my Mog house. I was like, where am I? Like, what the hell just happened? And to this day, from that moment on, I started paying really close attention to like how difficult certain enemies were versus other enemies. And like every zone I go to, that knowledge is still intrinsically like built into my DNA. Like I'll be walking around and I can't help but be like, that guy's probably a little bit tougher. That guy's a little bit weaker. That's a little bit easier. And partially that's like the enemies, as you encounter them across multiple zones, you get a gauge of their strength. But just partially like, you know, in zones, like generally the tiers of difficulty for different enemies, especially Tartar zones like that you like have been through a million times. Yeah, whooped my ass. It was my first death too, so it was kind of crazy. Because you brought it up, my hairstyle, my blue 3-pronged hair was way different in the like character creation screen. I had no idea it wasn't gonna look exactly like it did. And when I got it, and I remember my first thought was like, I don't know if I really like it as much as I thought. I can make a new character later. And that was, you know, 14, 15 years ago. I've never made a new character. Like I didn't realize that you can't just like change your hair later or make a new character. Like you were stuck. So I live with the hair long. At this point, I love the hair actually, but I was way more willing to live with the hair than I was to change it and like lose a few days of leveling, which at the time is so stupid. Like I should have just changed it, but whatever. Yeah. Hey, what else we got? Who's next? Bob, didn't you already ask something? Bob, you already asked something. But I'll answer your question anyway because I already wrote the response. You sneaky Bob. What was your favorite prank to play on Noobs? How many noobs did you get killed in a day normally? What was your record MPK count on RMT camps? I was never really a pranker because Final Fantasy 11, was one of my favorite things about it is you're so persistent. You get to know people. So it never even occurred to me because I'm like, these people are going to know me forever. Forever's a bit of an exaggeration, but like, you get a bit of a reputation. So I did get noobs killed constantly, but mostly for engaging in situations that my summoner could handle, and like other players couldn't. And then they would die, and I could always like kite around for a while until it would die. Like I could survive eventually, but two of us fighting something, like he might go down. Stupid stuff like that, mostly. RMT, I didn't even realize for a long time that RMT were like out in the world. I always just assumed the people that were there, like camping and claiming stuff super fast, were just really skilled players. I was naive, so naive. R5N, for the last Q&A, I asked you to tell us about the biggest bit of drama you caused. This time, I want you to tell us the story of the most selfless thing you ever did to help out someone else in Final Fantasy 11. Because we all know what everyone did, that sort of stuff all the time. And that's what made original Final Fantasy 11 so great. Yeah, dude, so, most selfless thing ever, easiest answer is probably like one of my favorite pastimes was getting, coffer keys for people. I love to get coffer keys because on Summoner I could kill basically all the enemies that you had to fight for coffer keys. It was a tough thing to get for a lot of players. It made me feel like a badass. It wasn't super fast, like Summoner wasn't going to take him down the fastest of any jobs, but I could do it consistently over and over again, and eventually would get a key. Then you could kill Darkspark too. I'd kill Darkspark all the time and be like, just tearing through your artifact quests. You're like, you're welcome. I just thought so. It was an easy way for me to help out. I felt like a badass doing it. It was just cool. But one of my favorite stories ever. I just heard like a fluttering. I hope there's not a bat in here. Let me go check. No idea what that was about. It kind of sounded like Waffles, like when he shakes, but he's not down here. So I don't know what that was. What was he talking about? I don't remember. Oh, so we met this new player in the Dunes once. It was Hayden Epic and I. And his name was Fonz. He was super new. He had no idea what he was doing. He didn't have a sub job. We were talking to him, teaching him some stuff about the game. We ended up helping to get his 3 sub job items for the rest of the day. And he was so nice. He was so grateful about it. And he kept saying stuff like, someday I will be the most powerful player in this game, and I will provide you glorious riches to pay back this incredible service you've offered me. And we're like, dude, it's fine, like it's no big deal. But like, glad you're happy. And we always used to joke that like someday Fonz would reemerge, like decked out in the most amazing gear. It might not even be Final Fantasy 11. It'd be like another MMO. And he'd be like, I told you I'd come back to repay my debt. And he'd like throw amazing items at us. And we joke about Fonz all the time. Yeah. Tons of fun. I think I've helped people through like Zillart and COP for like entire days before, just to get a break from the grind, to test out my jobs, see how they're doing. And some of those were tough because like you get through the whole day and you're like, oh my god, like I can't sit through one more of these damn quest cutscene like trains, watch them run across the zone. But yeah, they were fun. They could be long, but tons of fun. Trigger Z. Do you remember your first week ever of playing Final Fantasy 11? In my opinion, it was most memorable. Dude, honestly, I remember mostly as a big fond ball of confusion. Like I was so confused that whole week. It was lots of killing crabs, bugles. I was running around in the Eastern Ceruta over and over again, trying not to die, dying a lot. I was trying to earn some money for my first few spells as Black Mage because I didn't have any money. I remember my first ever party was like out in Tarangi Canyon. I just kind of ended up out there, and someone was like, "Hey, do you want to like have a party? We need a Black Mage." I was like, "I don't even know what that means, but sure, like I'll come." And it was really cool because we fought Dalmels. So I went from killing like tiny crabs and rabbits to like this enormous creature. And I was like, in groups, we are much stronger than we are alone. Like it was just such a cool transition for me as I realized that like groups are like super awesome. And we got a ton of XP. I'm like, this is amazing. I'm going so fast. We're in a party. I'm making friends. We're killing these giant Dalmels. And honestly, it was like that moment. From that moment, I was totally hooked. I like couldn't stop playing. But yeah, I remember the whole game just like felt so mysterious. Like zones around corners. I had no idea what anything was. And I was just so awed by all of it. And I still felt that way like years later. And I was like, this game is so sweet. Like it's still so mysterious and amazing. Rekka, what's going on, man? So if you're a developer and you were given a huge budget to update Final Fantasy XI, what would you do to the game to make it more modern while still trying to keep the core feeling it once inspired from its community? I know, the impossible question. I'm gonna answer this question, and I wrote a huge damn. Okay, let's do this. I'm not even gonna look up. We're just gonna read it. This is my perfect Final Fantasy XI in 2018. Huge budget. I'd probably update it to have the most impressive graphics one can possibly imagine. Sure, I'd still like for it to be able to run on crappy machines, but I want top-end hardware to be pushed here. Seriously, I want this to be the crisis of 2018. Graphics are by far not the most important thing, but I'd love to see my favorite game in some 2018 glory, let's be honest. Second, I put more money into the job point system, Apex camps, and make it closer to the original leveling experience. You'd have to move through the zones, finding different camps. Like, imagine if as soon as you hit 119, you had to go to, like, the starter zones. And there's, like, some Apex mobs, depending on what you do. And you, like, fight Apex mobs in the starter zones. And you move up through all the camps. I think it'd be awesome. I hate doing the same, Apex parties forever in the same 3 zones of red, blue, and green for years. We have so many beautiful unused zones these days. Might slow it down a little bit again. Games have gotten a bit too fast-paced with how like insane haste is these days. Like everybody has like 80% haste at all times. You're like flying. You're just getting TP so quick. You're not even. I can't chat anything. I introduced a better quest log and enhanced dialogue that gave better direction as to where your next steps were. I'd love to be able to play this game without using guides to lead me through the quests. But come on, most of the quest direction is like miserably vague. The system that they have now with the not Rhapsodies of Vana'diel. Echoes or I forget whatever the thing is that you have to click the objectives on. It's better than it used to be because you can get a little bit of direction, but come on, we could do better with an actual log of quests, and they have like a little history about what the dialogue was, so you can go back and read and be like, well, what's my next step here? But no markers on the map, no like exclamation points, question marks on completion, no areas saying you have to go to this area, no markers saying this person, go talk to them. A little vaguer than that, but like I still want dialogue that explains where I should go. Yeah, dialogue is just confusing as hell right now. Assuming these all worked out, I'd probably reintroduce level caps for quests and missions. Like, I love that you can B99 and destroy some level 75 missions, but it kind of sucks that like some of the hardest missions in the game now, like Pamama one-shot at Eldnark's second form. Like, come on, that's ridiculous. You might be able to do them with trust at that point, like if they're level capped and you're at the level cap with trust, like you could maybe still do it, certain missions for sure, but like having a few real players would certainly make it more worth it, and I think that would help balance it out from being like totally soloable from it's nice to have a friend or two and you could fill out the missing people with trust. I just missed some of the teamwork surrounding those question missions. They were like really fun, and now if you do them, you like destroy them. I get that with the population as it is now, you can't really have a game. We can't have Final Fantasy XI as it was because nobody could ever do any of the missions and quests. Like, people would have all quit by now. But still, you know what I'm saying. Finally, I'd introduced standard stat boost for eye levels, so your gear didn't have all that like plus 35 to stats. Like, what if you just like, at I-119, you naturally got like plus, I don't know, 25 strength, and then the gear just said plus 10 strength. I think it'd be kind of nice. I'd also try to balance out some of those stats, that there were different strategies again. Remember when it used to be like you could have incredible strength gear, accuracy gear, attack gear, haste gear, and you'd change your food and your strategy a little bit depending on like what gear you had? Now it's just like you have the most of everything, so I don't know. It just seems like it's kind of bread and butter these days. And finally, create better incentives for revisiting level 75 content that's capped at 75. Or having it update to be 99 difficulty. It's kind of a bummer right now that we have all this like classic Dynamis, Limbus, Sky, are all just kind of like out there. Salvage, whatever that was. Like, they're just out there. There's no reason to do them really. It's just kind of a bummer. Remember all the not Nizul Isle, but all the missions you can do in Ottergon. I forget what they're called. But like, there's no reason to do them right now. You just like, you know, they're out there, I guess. Anyways, now make it so, Rocket Sky. Go make that happen. Sean Eaton, what is your favorite thing about each pet job? Easy. Dragoon, you have a truly permanent friend, not a pet. It's like a buddy. It's always hanging out. That was so cool. Seriously, you like hatch an egg and then just like have this pet forever. That was like such a cool job mechanic. You give it a name. Like, come on, hangs out with you forever. If it's dead, you're like super sad about it, because not only is your damage like incredibly weak without the, not incredibly, but like significantly weaker, but you're just kind of missing like a core aspect to your job. Your buddy's gone. It's kind of bummer. Pup's kind of similar, but the pup felt less alive, so you got to name it and do cool stuff. Like Pamama was awesome, but I never felt like Pamama was like alive. Pamama's just like a tool to be wielded. I love that you can essentially choose a gear set though with Pup to change like how they work. Not only with just the attachments, but the actual like the head and body pieces. You can fulfill all sorts of cool stuff like Black Mage, White Mage, Ranger, tanks. It's just really cool that you can manipulate them to be different jobs for you, like as your little monkey puppet master. So cool. Summoner, coolest lore, and the fact that you're summoning literally huge creatures to fight beside you is fantastic. No game I've ever played before or since has such amazing, cool, awesome, massive summons. Like, super badass. Beast I always thought was amazing because the enemies you fought and died against throughout the game were suddenly like fighting for you. Like you could take the hardest enemies like slimes and suddenly they were working for you against the enemy. It was just such a cool concept. You could charm, can't you charm like Sabotenders and freaking Thousand Needles things? So cool. Great question, dude. That was a cool one. Rebirth of Sword. What's up, man? I have a two-part question, but it's easy. If you had a hall pass from Katie to go on a date with any celebrity, who would your female crush be, and who would be your man crush? If you want to pick from like the year range, like this Britney Spears, but before her crazy cry for help in the after the 90s. Great question, dude. I don't even have to be weird or specific about it. Kate Beckinsale. Easy. She's always just epitomized like sexy class for me. She pulls off both perfectly. I also don't think she can age. It like doesn't happen. I really think she might actually be a vampire. Like that's not even a joke. She's just straight up an actual real vampire. Man, seriously though, Kate Beckinsale. Man crush? Harrison Ford. Younger Harrison Ford, current Harrison Ford. Either way, if Sean Connery wants to stop by and say hello while we're having dinner, sounds cool. Love to see you too, buddy. Good times. Maybe Antonio Banderas. They can all hang out. But Harrison Ford as number one. Greg F. No one deserves more than you. Dude, really appreciate it. Will you ever do top Final Fantasy 11 songs? You've asked for that so many times. Dude, yes, definitely. I'm super behind on that one. I really want to spend a ton of time on it. I know it's such an excuse. But like I want to really go through all the songs and pick like my absolute favorites. So I've been waiting for a rainy day when I don't have any video ideas. And I have a ton of time. Which like never happens. At least the time part. So I can just like really hammer that one out to the degree that I'd like to spend time on it. But I will, man. It's one of my favorite ideas. I've got it listed on all my like backlog ideas. That one has got to happen. Spoiler alert. This song, Sanctuary of Zi'Tah, is gonna be on there. I don't know where. Definitely top 10, probably top 5. Just love this song. So relaxing. Also, I love the Go Flyers. Go Flyers. Alright, Dilvius. How has crafting changed in the current version of Final Fantasy 11? Back in the day, I had worked up to 90 smithing, and I wonder if anybody still does it, or even is it even still worth it? Dude, 90 smithing, that's nuts. That's a great question. I'm not really the person to ask because I feel like the furthest I've ever crafted was like a 50 cloth craft or something, so I never really made it all that far. I do hear, I don't think it's quite as difficult as it used to be. Whether that's because the materials are a lot cheaper these days, or there's a lot more gear and items that give you like temporary boosts to skill up than there used to be, a combination of both. I'm not really sure. I think it's still important for a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff that like the only way you can make it is by crafting. So that's still a thing, but it's not quite the powerhouse it once. You know, someone called out that I always say powerhouse. I didn't even realize it. I think I say powerhouse a lot. I don't think it's quite as crucial as it once was. I mean, so much gear used to be reliant on crafting. So many items, so much food, and you can buy so much stuff from the Curio Moogle now that a lot of that isn't as crucial. And the leveling experience, obviously, you can be geared in like almost whatever. So a lot of the leveling gear is like dirt cheap, but I think it's still important, just not quite what it was. Yeah, Wave Harp. You have talked at length about the positive experiences you've had in Final Fantasy XI. That is true. However, did Final Fantasy XI ever have a negative impact on your life? I remember neglecting my friends, family, and health because I was so addicted to the game. I was wondering if you ever went through anything similar. Yeah, dude, totally. Honestly, I don't know if it's because it's an MMO and gaming and my like biggest struggle with being addicted to something. Because I never this is the closest thing I've ever had to something like that. There were plenty of times where I'd be like heading out. I could head out with friends, but instead I'd play Final Fantasy XI and I'd hang inside. I'd skip family gatherings because I didn't. And you know, on one level, I'm like, how much of that is just me being a lazy kid that like wanted to stay inside and play video games versus like I had to be playing Final Fantasy XI. But there were a lot of times where I was like, I need to be playing Final Fantasy XI. Like I couldn't get out of my head. I wanted to play it all the time, and that did kind of tone down after a while. But yeah, it was kind of a problem. It was less so big moments than like just a lot of little things, little ways that it affected my life constantly. Like I wouldn't be super invested in what I was doing all the time. I'd be always thinking about like getting home and what I was gonna do on Final Fantasy XI. Physically, I sat hunched under a floor table, so like you had to sit like cross-legged underneath it, like doing this on a laptop for like 4 years straight. And I think it's affected me. I have tons of like back, arm, and stuff problems now, and I'm pretty sure it started in that era. So yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy XI kind of messed me up a little bit. College, I had both the positive and negative side of that. And like sophomore year, me and Hayden got super into Final Fantasy XI again. Freshman year, I was pretty into it still too. Freshman year was the worst because a lot of my friends like would go out, and I didn't really drink at the time, so I was like, I don't know. I already had a girlfriend, so she was long distance. I didn't want to like go out partying. I just wasn't about it, so I played a lot of Final Fantasy XI, but I missed out on a lot of stuff probably because of that. Sophomore year, I kind of turned that around and everything, but yeah, I had my little struggles with balancing real life versus Final Fantasy XI. It's definitely a problem. You gotta be careful about that. Great question. Eagle Strike. I know this might sound a bit lame question for a Q&A like this, but have you checked out Amelia's Final Fantasy XI HD overhaul? He keeps uploading videos of new zones. He did approximately once a week, and I'm quite impressed so far. Tell us what you think. Also, please never ever change the end card. I know it by heart because I love to listen to it every time. Oh, Jesus. If it's the overhaul I'm thinking of, I totally have. Epic sends it to me like once a week when he sees them. It's super impressed, but I'm still not sure like if I can do that. Like, can I update? Like, he did Sanctuary of Zi'Tah recently. Can I update my game and see that? Or is it something that's just kind of like a cool thing he's done that you can see, but you couldn't load into the game? It's like an external thing that he's loading into Unity or something. I'm just not really sure which it is. And honestly, I was just thinking I really need to update that end card because it doesn't even mention Twitch. It's the goofiest little thing. The whole like live dangerously thing was ad-libbed. I just kind of went with it. I really think I need to change it. I think it's kind of weird. But thank you so much for listening to it every time. I know it's goofy. Thanks, Steve. Darius Truxton. Q&A question: what were your memories of with the worm notorious monsters of Final Fantasy XI? And names such as Vertra, Fafnir, Tiamat, etc. Dude, honestly, this was the area I missed the most. I never really got into an H&M Link Shell. Seriously, I was in one kind of like briefly that did some other stuff. So I occasionally would be like, oh, maybe I should go. But we never actually successfully claimed a pop while I was in it. There was just always like this mythic concept that I never really encountered. And it's one reason I was so thrilled with Limbus was because I got to fight all those things without like, you know, camping them. I got to experience the battles at least like a little bit. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, I was bummed out to miss out on the real Fafnir, the real Tiamat, all that stuff. Lame. Manafont, were you ever involved in the Final Fantasy XI podcast community during its heyday? LBR, PFA, etc. Definitely most excited to get notifications for your channel. Keep up the amazing work, and here's to the next 5K. Dude, thank you. I am drinking the Golden Monkey from Victory, by the way. A local brew. Love me Golden Monkey. Appreciate it, dude. I wasn't actually... I just started reading that like it was a comment that somebody left me. Appreciate it, dude. No. I actually wasn't, though. It's funny, back in the day when I was, like, in my Final Fantasy XI Prime, I was never actually thinking about sharing my experiences. I just wanted to play. I was never thinking about, like, podcasts, vlogging, blogging, YouTube videos, other site videos. I just wanted to play the game, like, all the time. It wasn't until years later that I wanted to, like, revisit my experiences and kind of like experience Final Fantasy XI in a different way by like sharing it with others, because that's partially like what this is. It's me coming back and getting to experience Final Fantasy XI almost like from fresh eyes, or at least in a slightly different like viewpoint, kind of trying to share my experiences and like my memories with you guys. So it wasn't until years later that I ever thought about that. But yeah, I remember listening to some of that stuff. It was super cool. William Nation, congrats, dude. What are your tips for helping new people get into Final Fantasy XIV? Got the girlfriend and best friend into it. Nice job. Running out of ideas, shepherding them around. Oh, crap. I meant to ask Katie about this one. Katie would be perfect, because I got Katie into Final Fantasy XIV after briefly trying Arcade. To be fair, when we were playing it, I don't know how to say this, like, politely. She was kind of in the nervous stage of the relationship, so she was trying a lot of stuff that I don't think she'd necessarily jump on now, because she was eager to try new things, like keep the relationship going, even if it was totally out of her realm of like any interest. Not that she doesn't try new things if I'm really interested in it these days, but even if she like didn't like it back then, like absolutely couldn't stand it, she'd be like, let's keep going. But Final Fantasy XIV, for whatever reason, did kind of grab her. And I think it was partially the story that she'd invested in, this like character that she could create, and then she could gear up that character. She loved the different gear sets and like changing how her character looked. Learning new abilities wasn't like a huge deal for her. She'd get excited, but it was more about the new gear, the new areas, the storylines, the characters. But I don't know what finally like drove it home and like got her to keep playing, because she would play like without me sometimes. So yeah, I don't know what finally did it. I'd say, honestly, just keep trying to enjoy stuff like this group content. Don't try to push them too hard into figuring out the best ways to play their class, because that's my big problem, is I'm always like trying to push Katie, being like, why, maybe you should change your rotation a little bit like this, or like throw this ability in there more often. And she goes nuts. She can't stand it, because I'm like backseat driving her character. But just keep at it. Just keep trying to enjoy it. Take it slow. Enjoy the little things. Do the mini games. All that kind of stuff. When they seem to appreciate, you know, beautiful song or beautiful area, you know, stop, take a moment to appreciate it. It's easy, as somebody who's played games like that for a long time, to just kind of try and drive through that stuff and be like, the cool stuff's coming, but like, the cool stuff's all around you always. Like, that is the cool stuff, especially for new players. It's awesome though. I hope you guys continue to enjoy it. Oh God, where was I? I lost track. Yeah, there it is. Dominica Gerard. Dominica Gerard. Yeah, we're gonna go with that one. Won't lie, watching her vids filled me with nostalgia, and thanks to that, I've resubbed to see what the game is like now. Nice. Starting a new character and seeing if I can get Blue and Pup, nice, on this character. So know that you did this. I'm sorry about that, dude. How is Pup nowadays? Is getting all the attachments hard now or easier thanks to Trust? Seriously, I'm both happy and apologetic that you're back in the game, but enjoy it. Glad to see you back. Pup is literally like absurd these days. New attachments have been made incredibly strong, can drop down the damage taken, attack done, accuracy, triple attack, haste to like absurd levels, which is pretty sweet. But many of them are really expensive. They're all vendor sold these days, or at least most of them. But a lot of the vendor prices are kind of ridiculous. So keep that in mind. Always look on the auction house for some of the ones you're looking for. Pup's kind of weird because even from level 1, you can buy like whatever attachments you want. A lot of them are hard to employ at level 1 until you have some job points and can like have a higher elemental cap. But still, I mean, you can get the best attachments in the game at level 1, which is one of the coolest things about Pup, but kind of tough to invest all that money right away. Keep that balance. it's a lot of financial investment, really. But otherwise, yeah, pub's amazing these days. Good luck. Enjoy. Sadamako Yoshimura. Congrats on the 5K hit. Here's my question for the Q&A for you. What are your thoughts on making the game free to play, however adding microtransactions like modern Korean MMORPGs? Maybe pay $2 a month for 500% JP bonus, $1 a month to remove gating, wait times for events such as Omen, etc. Or maybe cosmetic changes to character, race, hair, etc. for like a flat fee of $5. Maybe even some cosmetic stateless gear. Personally think, or statless gear. Personally think it would be awesome because I wouldn't pay for the microtransactions and I could play for free. Plus, I feel like a lot of people would play again. To be honest, my initial gut reaction to this is I can't stand piecemeal transactions like that. I love the subscription fee because I know that I'm getting the whole game. I'm on par with everybody else. I have to work just as hard for all of the visible gear, the mounts that everybody else does. Once they start offering like the little bits and pieces, I'm worried that I would be like, oh, I shouldn't do job points right now because I don't have the bonus. I'll wait till next month and then I'll buy a job point bonus thing and then I'll level for a lot in that like 30-day period. In other games, I always get sad, like Final Fantasy 14 included, when some of the coolest looking gear ever is just like a purchasable thing from a store and it doesn't even have stats. And I'm just kind of like, it's just like a neat costume. I don't know, it just always comes and bums me out. It's a neat concept and I like the idea of bringing in more players with different purchasing models. But I always get super sad about some of the microtransaction concepts that I feel like they split apart content in the game, and because I never feel like I have it all unless I continue to pay little things here and there, it just kind of drives me away to begin with. I'm just like, I don't know, I don't want to figure out what I need to buy and like don't have to buy. It just seems too complicated. Maybe that's just me though. It would depend on how they implemented it. A larger community would be great. I think a free-to-play option could be definitely useful into driving towards that, but they'd have to be really careful about what they do because whenever you introduce those microtransactions, developers are often driven to like want to push people to buy those by making certain stuff harder or certain content more difficult to do regularly unless you get the, you know what I mean? They just introduce little ways that it's like they encourage you to buy those boosts and subs and like purchases. And once the game's at that point, I always feel like every little thing has been driven towards making me spend more money. And I don't enjoy it because I'm like, this isn't like a beautifully crafted experience anymore. It's a business model carefully tailored to make me pay you more money at every little turn. Like this, I'm paying the subscription and then I get access to this beautiful world, which is only designed to keep me wanting to play every month. It's not designed to make me want to play Limbus consistently every week, once a week, and spend an extra $1 for a Limbus. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just a careful balance there. It could work. I've just never seen a system that I truly love. Guild Wars 2 has done a decent job, but I thought it was way better before they made it free to play, and there wasn't so much cash shop stuff going on. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Good question though, dude. Phoenix, have you ever thought about trying one of the Final Fantasy 11 private servers? Nozomi is actually really cool since it's 75 era pre-Wings of the Goddess. Yeah, a lot of people bring these up. I love the idea of a pre-Abyssia era server, but I'm kind of saddened by the idea of losing my character and like the progress I had at level 75. I had so many jobs leveled up, it would just be like devastating to not have all that. I'm not actually sure I could survive in the original Final Fantasy 11 as it stands, like in this day and age. Especially with YouTube and everything else going on, like I would never be able to actually party or make any progress, which is tough. I used to party for like, 6 hours a night. Like how the hell did I even do that? I'm not saying I don't miss it. It's just like tougher now that I have like a job and everything else. It's just tougher than it used to be to make progress that way, which is kind of a bummer. Ursa Major. So what are we doing for subs game night for February? Congrats on the 5K. Dude, I'm so glad you brought this up. Official announcement. Twitch subs game night is officially 3 sub game nights behind. I promised to do it for February, March, and April is what we're on. I was so excited I got super distracted by life and YouTube channel stuff, but we've got to get back to it. We're going to get back to it soon. I'm going to start it up. We're going to do it once a month. It's going to be amazing. We've got to pick a game. I've been sort of holding back because I'm nervous about picking a game that like everybody can play. I feel like whatever I pick, not everybody's going to have it, which is just like a bummer. So I'm getting nervous about that. But we got to pick something, and we'll play it soon. I promise. I'm away this weekend, so we definitely can't do it this weekend, but I promise it's coming. William Fox. Cheers, man. You deserve nothing but the best. Thanks, dude. Question is, who is Hayden? Is he your in real life friend? Dude, yeah. Although in classic Final Fantasy 11 fashion, we actually first met in game. We had a lot of friends in common, but I'd never actually hung out with him until we started playing Final Fantasy 11 a lot. And I would chat with him all the time. We became good friends, and then met at like a party of mutual friends. I was like, "Are you Hayden?" And then we started hanging out all the time. Real story. He's now gonna be the best man at my wedding. So if that isn't a story about Final Fantasy 11 friendship, then I don't know what is. Great question though. Legendary K4. Have you ever played another MMORPG like Final Fantasy 11? I missed the way the game felt back in the day, and have never been able to fill that void. Thanks and congratulations. Thanks, dude. I'm sure you expect this, but no. Nothing has ever quite lived up to Final Fantasy 11 entirely. I've really enjoyed aspects of Final Fantasy 14. I revisited... We went for a while there, guys, without a tongue twister. I revisit it every few months. I've played through Guild Wars 2 all the way to 80. I enjoyed a few months of Elder Scrolls Online. Briefly, for one glorious evening, I loved Star Wars The Old Republic. I thought it was going to be the future with how funny those quest lines were in groups. It did not become the future for me, but I did really enjoy that for one great evening. Nothing has ever grabbed me as long-lastingly, as deeply, passionately as Final Fantasy 11. It just... I don't know if it'll ever happen. I don't think it can. Anyways, some food for you. I hope we get Final Fantasy 11 on the PS4, all PC content. I started day one PS2 Final Fantasy 11 for 6 years. Got Summoner 75 first, following Blue Mage and Black Mage. Good picks. My question is, what was your worst experience? What was your worst experience day in Final Fantasy 11? Example was, were you ever a victim of trains of monsters, or has anyone ever trolled you? Yes, I was definitely a victim of monster trains, like countless times, and I've definitely been trolled. NMs have been stolen. I've lost to fights. I've died for dumb mistakes. One of the worst days for me ever was right after Diablos came out. I had the Kieran fight going on that night. It was briefly during that stint where I was in a Final Fantasy 11 like Sky Link Shell. I was desperate to get Diablos before it started because everyone wanted the summoners to have Diablos for this ranged, what was it called? Like Kamisado or something? It was a ranged attack that did like consistently 600 damage every time. My girlfriend at the time was angry because I was playing all day. I told her I was going to play, but I think she got like her college acceptance letter, so she'd wanted to go out to celebrate by getting like some ice cream. I was like, can we do it later? Like I'm in the middle of something, because I've been like setting up this group for Diablos for like hours. And then she called me and was like, we have to go get ice cream right now. And I was like, I'm in the middle of something. I'm sorry. Like what? Maybe I handled that wrong, but at the time I was so pissed off. So she was pissed off. I might have been being a little selfish, but it's been spending hours. I really wanted to get Diablos. I've been working towards it for all day, shouting in Juno, and she kind of just like blindsided me. So she's mad. We're in a fight. We go out to try and do Diablos after hours of shouting in Juno. I finally got the full party together. It was a standard party though, not like 6 black mages. It was like a paladin, a monk, white mage, and we got annihilated, totally destroyed. So I ended up going to get ice cream late with an angry girlfriend, lost to Diablos, had to show up to the Kieran fight as the only one, still using Leviathan. I was super pissed off. It was just like the worst Final Fantasy 11 day ever. And I was starting to debate. I was like, is this wrong that I want to do this all day instead of celebrating my girlfriend's acceptance into college at the drop of a hat, getting ice cream? No, I think I handled that perfectly. I was so pissed. I was so angry. The whole day was awful. Justin125. What are your thoughts on best worst tank job? 75 era and current. This is a good one. Paladin's my favorite winner across 75 and 99. I think it's one of the all-time greats. Great job. But Ninja for me was just such a cool concept. I've never seen another MMO handle tanking like Ninja, and it's kind of like it was an accident. It was an accident for Square Enix. Like they didn't even mean it. So like that's kind of cool. I'd be lying if I didn't say I preferred it in parties over Paladin. I love Ninja tanks in parties. But for missions and stuff, bring on that Paladin. Rune Fencer is pretty solid now and crucial for some stuff, but obviously it wasn't around 75, so I don't like the heartfelt attachment to Rune Fencer that I do with Paladin. Other than that, I mean, back in the day, that was basically it. You could, like, dual tank with Samurai. You could probably gear up a warrior for it if you wanted to, but nobody ever did. It was basically just Paladin, Ninja, now Rune Fencer, no more Ninja. I guess Pup can, like, tank for a lot of stuff. I don't like Pup tank for most things. It's really cool that my automaton can regen through basically everything, but he can't hold hate for shit. And that can be kind of frustrating. I don't like tanking myself as a Pup. Mostly because I don't have the damage down gear for myself that I would need to make it super effective. But yeah, cool concept. You also brought up Patreon. I have not set up a Patreon yet. I really appreciate you offering up the support, unless you're just curious about me having a Patreon. I probably will set one up in 2018. This is going to be one of my goals for the year. But yeah, I've been focused a lot on Twitch lately and making that as an engaging and fun experience as possible. So I just haven't been worried about Patreon. I want Patreon to be something that people find valuable. Instead, it's cool that people want to support me, and I think that's awesome, and I really appreciate it. But I want you guys to get something out of it too. And until I do Twitch sub night regularly, because I promise I'll do it, I can't set up a Patreon because I'd feel bad. I feel terrible. So I want to be there first. This year though, I'm gonna make it happen. Tally Banana. Your videos, along with a few others, are the reasons I've been trying to get into Final Fantasy XI on private servers, but I keep running into error 3001, so I haven't actually been played it yet. It's a bit more of a pain in the ass, but I guess my question has to do more with your older videos. Do you still play Siege? If you do, what do you think about some of the newer operators and how broken a lot of them seem to be? Sorry to hear about that, but you know, Final Fantasy XI's standard servers are still up and running. Nah, I'm just kidding. I took like a 6 to 9 month break from Siege, actually. I really didn't like the last season all that much. I didn't like the new maps. The new operators were cool, but I just wasn't really about it. I felt a little out of touch with the whole game. Recently, I did buy the latest season pass, though. We started hopping on like a few weeks ago, and I was just like so excited to be playing again. I forgot how much I missed it. But yeah, Lion, Finka are kind of a little crazy right now, especially if you tie it with that cell phone buzzy operator. Rushes are just so hard to deal with. I think it's fun because it makes things like really fast paced sometimes, just neat. And I like that people are rushing so many times that you can kind of sneak up behind them a lot of the time, which is nice. But yeah, I like traps. I think the traps are a lot of fun now with the rush meta going on. But yeah, I don't know. It's been fun, but I do feel like a little bit they're kind of overpowered. Like, both things can affect all people on the map. Like, that's just ridiculous. Have you been playing it? I'm on PS4. If you haven't added me, definitely do. Z. I booted up 11 for the first time, more or less, last night. Wow, that's awesome, dude. Is there anything for me or other players in a similar situation to know as new players? I'm not talking about making a short essay for starters necessarily, but maybe something more along the line of, if there's one single thing you think we should know that can make our start a bit smoother or less rough. Definitely, I got some pointers. I definitely want to make sure I make a video about this in the future. A lot of people have been bringing it up. I really wouldn't have thought it was valuable in 2019 or 2018, but you guys are all asking for it. It's definitely coming. For now, make sure you follow Rhapsody's Vanadil to get through all the benefits that it offers from getting through different stages. It also leads you through all the missions and the storylines from the expansions and the original content, so that's great. Don't be afraid to look up quests and missions on BG Wiki or FinalFantasyEncyclopedia.com. It's literally impossible to complete anything without following those guides. Like, I've never once even tried. So don't feel like I cannot follow this vague direction. Like, am I just a terrible player? No, it's really vague. Look into selecting various Records of Eminence goals. You want to always be making progress towards them. I always forget that, or I'm always capped out. Other than that, remember to stop and spell the Mandragora. Seriously, Final Fantasy XI originally wasn't quite the speed demon it is these days. And some of the music, the zones are just so beautiful, and some of the most unique experiences with characters, storylines that I've ever had in any MMO. I mean, look at this amazing misty forest that I'm sitting in right now. This is just glorious. Let's do a little pan. It's just so cool. But it's easy to kind of follow like the standard MMO practice these days and just try to burn through stuff, get to the end game. But Remember, this wasn't about the end game, it was about the whole game. Like, you were always at different spots. So explore those nooks and crannies. That's all. Try different sub-job combos. A lot of different sub-job combos. LeBron James. Oh my god, LeBron James watches my channel. That's awesome. I love your Final Fantasy 11 vids, man. Just wondering, are you somehow doing stuff solo, or do you have a static party that you play with? I do a lot with friends and Link Shell that we've got on Odin, but with Trust, a lot of stuff is soloable now. I mean, I do spend most of my time making quiet progress by myself, so that when I'm like with groups of friends, the Link Shell, that like I'm prepared for it, which kind of seems backwards with Final Fantasy 11, but it does sort of work that way. With Trust, you can do a lot alone these days. And then guys, last one, Tristan Ford. Hunt for Games, congrats on the 5K subs. Love the Final Fantasy 11 content. My question has to do with Final Fantasy 11 back in the day. How far did you end up progressing in the Rise of Zi'Tah days before taking a break on the game? Can you compare and contrast Endgame then versus Endgame now? Furthest I made was apparently right up before the final Eldnark fight, because I went to go back and do it these days, and all the cutscenes were done, and I just had to enter the fight, and I had like no idea. Honestly, biggest difference between 75 and 99 was Endgame. Endgame in 75 was super varied. You could do different stuff that have been introduced over the years in Zillart, Promethea, in between expansions, Ottergon, and it was all viable and useful to gear up, get money, all sorts of stuff. It just kept spreading horizontally and getting more detailed and deeper and better. And not just like 100% better than previous content, like it was just different gear. It might be worse, it might be better in some ways. And that was just so cool about it. It always felt like there were so many different things you could be doing if you wanted to. At 99, it feels a little bit more funneled down to certain specific things. There's very specific tracks to like get certain types of gear. It's a little spread out in certain ways, but it's nowhere near the breadth, the depth that Final Fantasy 11 in 2004 was, or 7. I don't know. It's sad. I wish there was more options for me in 99 to keep things fresh, but it's kind of just like the few things. Guys, every time I do this, I think it's gonna be way faster. It's just we are capping out an hour and 10 minutes right now. I'm selling the same beer, guys. Again, thank you so much for the incredible support over the 3 years. We hit 3 years like 2 weeks ago. The incredible support over all the years, 5,000 subs. I cannot believe it. More to come. More Final Fantasy 11, more Final Fantasy 14, more all sorts of MMOs, more games in general. Because I love games that break me away from Final Fantasy 11 and different MMOs, because I need games to ground me in reality every once in a while, because I get so stuck in the gear, the constant progression, that unless I step away and just have like a condensed story, some multiplayer matches, I lose my mind. So I need that, and I can't wait to bring you more of that stuff and find exciting new ways that I can bring videos about that stuff. Like I said, a lot of cool MMOs coming out this year. Can't wait to do more content on them. Thank you guys for all the continued support. Keep on the lookout for my announcement of my next my Q&A Twitch stream that I said I was gonna do, as well as the Twitch subs game night. Definitely coming. Records and Feminist Challenge gain experience. That's one of the best. Of course, there's an update coming in like 10 seconds. Guys, you've been amazing. Keep on the lookout for those. I don't have the day scheduled yet, because actually next week I have to cancel next Tuesday's Twitch stream. Not the one that's going to happen tonight after the time of seeing this video, but coming up. Sorry about that. I'll make it up to you. But also, Q&A Twitch stream coming up. I don't know the day exactly yet. Probably sometime next week. Guys, you've been amazing. Really appreciate it. I will see you all in the next one. Keep playing Final Fantasy 11. Keep playing RPGs. Keep playing MMOs. Can't wait to see you. And, I guess peace out. Have a good one. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, you should totally think about subscribing. I've got videos coming out twice a week, and if you like this one, there's at least a chance you'll like some of the others that are very similar to this, so live dangerously. Let me know what you guys thought about the video in the comments, and other videos you'd like to see. And finally, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Huntin for Games to keep up with all the latest stuff. See ya.